Welcome to EstieBestie Podcast, where Sarah and I will be talking about
being an esthetician.
Once I graduated high school, I am really close with my two cousins who graduated the exact same year as me, who were both planning on going to college, and I really didn't have a strong idea of exactly what I wanted to do. I really didn't know if college was for me, and at the time I was working at a Bare Minerals, a makeup store, so I was doing makeup. I knew I had a passion for makeup, beauty, all of that. I just never knew that I could make it my career. So I had no interest in hair whatsoever. So once I started getting into skin a little bit more, I was just like, you know what? I did my research and I was just like, I could make this my thing. I could make this my living. I could make this my career. And at the time when I brought this up to family members, I was kind of looked at weird because here I have my two cousins that just graduated as well. And they're off to all these universities, not even community college. They're off to these big universities. And I'm here like, nah. So I always felt like for a long time that I was kind of looked at in a certain way because of that. But soon after graduating school and how passionate I was about it, and I really started making this my life and further educating myself in this industry, I quickly kind of came to the realization that I made the right choice. I mean, I'm young, and a lot of kids my age either just graduated college or they're about to graduate college, and I just feel very lucky every day that I'm already in my career, and it doesn't even feel like a job for a split second. It feels like I love what I'm doing. Follow your gut, because I feel like a lot of time outside influence can really start, because it definitely made me feel some kind of way, and I'm glad I kind of just stuck to what I wanted to do.
Everyone pushes college. I'm a twin. That's a fun fact about me. So I have a bunch of siblings too that were all in there. The youngest now, he's going to college probably soon. So that was the stigma. With my twin, she was going to college, and I was kind of senior year. I did want to be a nurse. Now I don't really want to be a nurse. I don't know what I want to do every day. Thankfully, I have a very supportive family, and my mom talked me down, and she was like, you love skincare, so why don't you just go to beauty school? And I'm like, it's not college. And even in my head, I'm like, I want to go to college. I can do college. It's just what I wanted to do with my life doesn't need college. But there was that whole stigma, and I still get it. When I waxed for a couple years before I came to Glow, and I would get people that would come in my room because I was really young. I was 19 waxing them. And they'd be like, oh, are you thinking about going to college? You should really think about going to college. And I'm like, no, I wasn't planning on it. And it was all the time. I had people, you should really go to college. You should really think about doing that. And you should really, nobody believed that I could do it, just skincare. But I know, now, and the same thing Kassie said, now everyone our age is graduating this year, or maybe last year for you, and just starting out their careers. And I feel like I've already at my age built it up, and I live on my own now, and I'm able to do what I love to do, and I have been for years. So I feel like just getting over that, going to beauty school over college, nobody should listen to that. Because if you like doing this, there's nothing wrong with not going to college.
And even when I talk to people that just graduated high school or still in high school and they don't know what to do, I always just throw in that trades in general are never going to go away. I feel like they're kind of from certain people are looked down upon, oh, you're not going to college. Yeah, I'm not going to college. I'm going for a trade. And I also don't have to pay back $80,000 in school debt. And I can start building my career. And a lot of times in these trades, you start out with a business, and then you usually get the opportunity to venture out on your own and be your own boss. So, I mean, don't knock trades, don't knock beauty school. If you're passionate about something, that's all you kind of really need to light that fire underneath you. And also not have the mindset oh, but if I do this, am I going to make money, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
the whole money thing
should not be your goal.
It shouldn't be your goal. And I strongly believe if you're passionate about something, the money will just follow you. Be who you are, stay true to yourself, and you should not have a problem in whatever industry you choose to go in.
Doing what you're good at and not thinking about how much money you're going to make is going to get you so much farther. If you build a relationship with your guests and they want to come and see you all the time and they're like, no, I want to see her, then you'll be successful that way.
Yeah, the rest will flow naturally.
Yeah. 100%. So money will come because especially in this industry, you're working on people. You have to have those conversational skills to be able to get through a facial. I'm not saying the facial, knowing it and knowing how to do it, and anything else skincare is really important, but almost just important is knowing how to talk to your guests, because nobody wants to sit in a room and feel like you don't want to be there. You're kind of just like going through the motions. The more you're like in tune with your guests and like building a relationship with them, the better, like, you know, then you're seeing them for facials or seeing them monthly and they love coming to see you. And I feel like that's just
important. And especially when you're in a room, you know, performing a facial, performing a wax, whatever it may be. In our cases, this is like a one-on-one experience, so people can read when you don't want to be there, when you're coming off of this closed off energy. It's so apparent, and they most likely will not return to you because that's not what they're looking for when they're coming in for something like that. Also too, I just feel like something a teacher told me when I was in like skin school, like half really is about like your knowledge, but also the other half is how you treat people. Like back when I worked in makeup, like you could kind of like get that one client that would kind of like try to like one up you on like what you were saying, almost like doubting what you're saying is true. But honestly, from doing facials now for so long, I feel like the environment is different. Like a client is coming to you either because they're insecure with something that's going on. They don't have the knowledge and they're looking for you to educate them. And I really rarely ever have this energy where it's like somebody's like doubting you. You're looked at, you're trusted. You're trusted because you went through this, you went through schools, you went through advanced training.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, like it takes time. I know when I started, I was very awkward. I did not like talking to people. I don't even like doing this right now. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. But because you're, again, one-on-one. So when you're in a room with them, I used to feel like I was stuck. I was like, I have no choice but to talk to them. So then, like, you start off with a basic question, like, if it's the weekend, what are you doing for the weekend? Then it, like, builds from there. And that's how you, like, people want to come see you when you, one, know what you're doing, know what you're talking about, but two, like, they feel like you guys are friends. Mm-hmm. It's good to have your guests feel like they can trust you.
And when it's genuine, because I also feel like once you listen, when you work with a guest and you start seeing them and you're learning things about them, their lifestyle, whatever it may be, when you re-bring up something, it's just like, wow, that person actually listened. That person like actually cares about me as a person. And, you know, that's always a great feeling when that happens in general to anyone, like, oh, you remembered.
Yeah. Yeah, they love when you remember. That's right.
Just be present and do things with purpose is some advice. Yeah.
No, but because this such like the day and age to be in, you have to be in social media.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of pressure to get it right and to look perfect all the time.
Yes. And like you see all these people pumping out content left and right, and then when I try to do content and I'm in my bathroom for 3 hours and I've recorded a voiceover 80 times and my dog's barking in the back and I'm this close to losing my mind, I'm like, this is not as easy as it seems. And also I made a TikTok yesterday and I'm like, yeah, like I'm 23. I know how to do social media. I literally had to ask the 18-year-olds at the front desk how to put the text at the right time. I've never felt this old in my life. I feel like Lauren.
I know. When Lauren comes.
Love you, Lauren.
When Lauren comes to us, she's like, help, please.
But like I myself need help too. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not good at the social, like every time I do a facial and I'm like, I get to the end of it, I'm like, I should have done it before and after. I'm like, dang it. Or like dermaplaning, I'm like, wow, that would have been good if I took it before and after. And it's hard to think about, and it takes a lot of time to do. Like, editing pictures makes me, I shouldn't say this, makes me want to shoot my brains out. I cannot stand it. I'm like, it's okay, you can cut it out. But I do not, even my own social media, I cannot stand editing pictures. I like never, once I post it, I'm just like, honestly, whatever.
And I never want to look at it for the next 3 hours or else I'm just going to overthink what I just posted.
Yes.
But also something else that I struggle with, captions. It's like throughout my day, like when I'm thinking about like things to do, I in my brain, I come up with all these things I want to say, and then I like have the finalized version in front of me, and I'm like,
or you're like,
it sounded
this
much
emoji
better
or
in my
that
head.
emoji, like, which one works?
Oh, on my personal account?
Exclamation point or no?
Personal account, forget about it. If I can't think of a caption within the next 15 minutes, it's getting an emoji. Simple. Yeah. That's it.
It's not getting words.
X out the app, done.
I know.
Yeah, social media is a different realm, and I feel like it's really time consuming. Like I really didn't realize how time consuming it could be, like a full on job. Okay, even though social media, I feel like it can be like a bit intimidating, especially when you follow like all similar accounts of what in the industry.
Like when they do something, you're like, shoot, I should have thought of that.
You're like, wait, are you like a genius or like?
Yeah. Where are you getting these ideas?
Because my brain's not turning the same way sometimes. Yeah. But definitely, I would say when starting off with social media, I mean, like we're like pretty new at like doing like our own content and stuff like that. I would just say pump out things that you would be helpful to the audience that you have.
Don't be embarrassed by any of it.
Yeah.
Because we know Lauren makes us do TikToks with her all. Like, every single time she comes into work, she's like, what TikToks do you guys have for me? I'm like, none. And she always, one of them, there's always at least 2 people, and she's like, you got to get in it with me. And I'm like, I don't want to
I'm
today.
like, I'll record this one.
Yeah. She always records, and I don't mind being in the videos, but there's some days I'm like, I don't want to be on camera. So that's what holds me back, is being embarrassed by what I post. I'm like, I'm going to get judged for this. Nobody ever cares. And there's so many people that come into our office too are like,
and bring it up.
They're like, we love your social media. So like that is encouraging, because I'm like,
no, we hear it all the time. I'll keep doing it if
you like it,
all the time. Yeah. And also I feel like there's like a certain kind of like pressure too, and I feel it's good not to get in your head and be like, okay, am I doing too much? Am I doing not enough? Like, go at your own pace, and I feel like the rest will kind of like follow, because if you're just trying to pump out so much in such a little amount of time, it's not going to be the best it would be if you like took your time and kind of approached it a little differently. Like, oh my God, I have to post something because I haven't posted in blank amount of time. Like whatever it is. I feel like also like in this industry, like we shouldn't look at anyone pumping out content as competition, because something I always, even just starting in this industry, is just like there are so many clients for all of us. There's work for all of us. We shouldn't feel like a competitive nature when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I think that kind of goes back to, just staying true to who you are, and, the people that are meant to come to you, and all these great clients, they're just going to flow naturally to you if you have that kind of mindset.
Yeah, I agree. EstieBestie. Yeah.
Dropping knowledge. That's really it about social media.
I know.
I'll let you know when I become a pro. As of right now, beginner.
Yeah, we're beginner level. We actually learned everything from Tim. Shout out to Tim.
Shout out.
Important, I think.
So I think like fresh out of like esthetician school, you have this envision of like where you want to be, like Sarah, like how she said once she read like the medical little paragraph that our textbook gave us.
It's the smallest like, little probably like chapter of medical aesthetics, and I was like, that's what I want to do. Like the second I read it, because I did want to be a nurse, so I'm more into the medical side of things. And when I read that, I was like, that sounds exactly like what like. And when you're in school, you don't understand all the parts of it. Like I was like, do I need to get a license for this? I don't understand. Like,
is this a separate
work under someone? Yeah. Can I do it? Like,
and it's tricky because every state is like different.
Yeah.
And I think like there's a few like Utah and somewhere else actually has like a medical esthetician license. I'm pretty sure that's like 1,500 hours or something. It differs. But I mean, I was always intrigued for the medical side just because it's just like result oriented. I think rubbing somebody's face and giving them a great massage and all that stuff is great, and I'm still including that, but having the different modalities like we have at Glow that are a little bit more result oriented, like when you pair
dermaplaning,
both, it's like the best of both worlds. So like
every time someone comes in for a facial, I'm like, you sure you don't want dermaplaning?
I love
dermaplaning. Like I know, I think it's so much fun, and I love everything. Even just getting to videotape like Lauren and Corey and watch them do it, it's just so intriguing to me. But getting into that was really hard. So when I came out of school, I kind of was just like, okay, I don't really know where to go from here. And especially when you come straight from school, like a lot of places, doesn't matter if it's beauty school or college, want you to have experience. Yeah. So on a medical
go on Indeed, forget about it. Scroll down, 2 years of experience. Where am I pulling that from?
Yeah, especially
freshly graduated.
Just came out of school. I don't have 2 years.
And then you start, I mean, I was at this point too, like when I just graduated, I was just like, nobody wants me. I was just like, nobody wants me. And also, this is like a whole other topic of, I feel like the misconceptions of like how you actually come out of aesthetic school. I feel like I had this whole thing like, I'm going to be set to go. And then you kind of graduate and it's like, it's not that you didn't learn anything, but it's just like, I'm not ready to just like,
be thrown in there. Yeah.
A lot of times with school, and I tell this like to people that are in school for aesthetics, is they're going to teach you what you need to pass the test. Yeah. So like a lot of baseline, a lot of sanitation things.
Which is good.
Which is great.
But like,
you need that.
You're doing state board and they're like, you have to do it in this step, in this step. The real world, you don't, like, they're not going to know if you don't do it in the right step. Like putting on makeup for our state board. They were like, you have to put on foundation first, then concealer, then do the eyeshadow. Like
I did bridal for years and I always did the eyes first. It was just my way of doing it. I just like to do the eyes first.
Right.
So, I mean, definitely also something, I don't know, you went to artistic, I went to Christine Valmy. I remember when I was in school, throughout, they kept having emails sent out like, of these advanced courses that were being held at the school. Yeah. And there were like X amount of money. And I remember I got an email for microdermabrasion and a peel course combined. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like I'm taking this. I'm so excited. They said like an instructor from the New York school was going to be there. And I'm just like, I'm taking this. I'm doing it. I paid like $600. Yeah. And at the end of the course, all I did was take the microdermabrasion and go like this on the instructor's hand one time. And I had a packet about a glycolic peel that they let us take home. Still not knowing, like I wouldn't be able to walk in the next day and perform a whole microdermabrasion. There was just no way. So something with like talking to other estheticians is like, don't be so quick to jump at the programs that your school's giving you. If you get a job at a spa, the right thing that's going to happen is they're going to teach you more modalities and like how to do it, because
not that school doesn't teach you, but focus in more on your job's going to teach you.
Those advanced courses, like you're better off taking from like an actual like institute, something not like coming from your school. Cause like I hate to say it, and maybe the cases are different somewhere else, at my school too, but it was just like you were paying for nothing. You get a little certificate at the end that says microdermabrasion and AHA peels. It didn't set you up for much. It didn't.
But when I came out of beauty school, I pretty much had like a job lined up for me because my one classmate had worked at the wax center. Mm-hmm. So I was like, and I liked waxing. So I was like, I'll do this for now, but I really wanted to get into medical aesthetics. Mm-hmm. And I had applied to so many places that just, they don't want someone straight from school. They want someone who like obviously knows what they're doing. And not to say, I mean, straight from school, at least our artistic academy, they like drill it into your head. Like I probably was my best at everything straight from school because I had it all like ingrained in my head.
Mm-hmm. Like fresh out.
Yeah, fresh out. And then you kind of just like have, like I worked at the wax center for a couple of years. You have to like work your way into it. And it just so happened that like my one, like it was like my mom's friend came to Glow. And then like you putting yourself out there, I think is the most important. My mom always encourages me to put myself out there. It's how I've gotten like every job I have, because I walk straight into the place and I say it. And I emailed Corey right away, even though they weren't hiring. And I was like, listen, like I'm really interested in medical aesthetics. And she's like, we're not hiring. And like 8 months later, Corey calls me.
Yeah, I mean, like same thing.
Yeah, like 8 months later, she calls me and she's like, we're hiring. Can we interview you? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So like even if you know what you want to do, put your foot out there. Like the worst they're going to say is no. And like You
but
can
also,
get over
too,
it.
you walking in with that confidence alone, that definitely stays with, I feel like, most employers. Like, okay, she's hungry. She knows what she wants. Yeah. She just needs the right opportunity to, you know, get her where she wants. And I think, like, having that confidence in you is definitely what drives you to get the opportunities that come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Medical spas, they're the best, but they are a little more difficult to get your foot into. But don't let it discourage you. If you like this one certain place and they do medical aesthetics there and you want to work there, then literally just email the owner. That's exactly what I did, and it worked. And if that's what you want to do, and even if they don't answer your email, then, like, at least you tried. There's nothing wrong with trying. Like, nobody's going to look at that. Like, don't be embarrassed by doing it. Like, I know I was writing this email. I was like, this is so dumb of me to do. Like, she's never going to look at this. And she did. And thank goodness it got me into this job. But
started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and also, great. Too, just from, like, hearing, like, horror stories from other estheticians trying to get into a medical spa, like, we're spoiled. We're really lucky because our bosses are amazing. But from going off of what other people have told me and then going through, like, an interview with another med spa and you're like, okay, this sounds like what I wanted, take the job, and then you get there and it's nothing like how it seemed. You're basically on your own, that kind of thing. I think it's really important if you want to get into a med spa to, when you're in an interview with somebody, to also interview those employers, because you need to have, like, a better understanding going through, because a lot of things sound good on paper, but then once you start getting, like, to the nitty gritty, it's just like, oh wow, this kind of sounds messy. Yeah.
I had issues with that at my old job, that I was like, I started working there and I was like, everything's great. And I am someone who doesn't question anything. So, like, if you're giving me the lowest pay, I'm like, that's great. I was not getting a lot of money where I was working, and I didn't think anything of it because I love my job. So I was like, who really cares if I'm not? And then, like, the longer you're there for, you see, like, the cracks in it. And I was like, I don't really want to stay here. And then just perfect timing. That glow came along, and then I was like, yeah, I'm leaving.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. But yeah, I think, again, any job, if you want that job, put your best foot forward. Every mom tells you that when you're little. Put your best foot forward, and it usually gets you to where you want to go, but you have to be putting in that effort. Effort is a lot of it. Like, it is not always easy.
Rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually, like, crazy how, like, growing up, you, like, listen to, like, what your mom or, like, your parents are telling you. And you're like, yeah. And then, like, now you're at, like, a mature age, and you're like,
you understand it.
Yeah, you were right.
Yeah.
You were
when she used to tell me, like, best foot forward, I would literally walk and put my right foot forward because I like my right foot better. So I'd put my best foot forward.
She's being literal.
Yeah, I was literal. I was a literal kid. I was like, I would walk and be like, she told me to put my best foot forward, and I like my right better. So I'd put my right foot first. And then when I'm older, I'm like,
she's walking down the street.
I'm walking and I'm like, what? Right first.
There's, like, bystanders looking like, why is that chick walking like that?
Right. And it's a memory that never leaves my head because I was like, that was so dumb. But yeah. Probably, like,
that's a special
down the driveway to the bus.
Hold on. Parents looking like, that kid should probably be on a leash.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Sorry.
100%.
This is, like, it's definitely going to be cut out, but, like, when I was down the shore, there was a kid on a leash, and my cousin goes, look, it's a pet sperm. A pet sperm.
It's so funny. I'm going to call every kid with a backpack that now.
Oh, my God.
They gave a leash.
Oh, my gosh.
It's so funny. But it's true. When they tell you those things, you don't actually... I had no idea what she was saying. I was like, okay, whatever you say. Because it was when I was going to school, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And now I do. I'm like, she didn't actually mean my right foot forward. What are you talking about? Yeah. She meant just putting in my best effort, and that was putting your best foot forward. But it works out in the end. Yeah.
Let's get real. I know the packaging is great.
And it's so nice in the store.
It draws me in too, but like all that like Sephora skincare, it really is just kind of like a marketing ploy for you to buy that package, product, goes hand in hand with like the package, and then they give you like one like solid benefit. It's hydrating. Like, okay. Then you look at the ingredients, you turn it over, and it's like a
Where's the hyaluronic acid?
dictionary, like just so much. And it's just like, okay, I finally found the hyaluronic on the list, and it's the second to last ingredient. That isn't gonna do anything. Not even a little bit. Like, it's not gonna do anything. Like, straight up, it's not gonna do anything. And I feel like because of how it is marketed and like the packaging and stuff, you like, before you know it, you have so many products and your vanity looks great because all the products are there and it looks so pretty. And then it's just like, oh, my skin is at the same state it was in before I bought it, if not worse. Also, too, something that just happened recently, I had a client at Glow, and young girl, and she was using all Glow recipe. Packaging's cute, but main ingredients is fragrance. And, you know, that's only going to contribute to acne, breaking out, all that stuff that we don't want. So
yeah, that's not from Glow Aesthetics.
What?
Because it sounds like Glow.
No, Glow Recipe. Glow Recipe
is not Glow Aesthetics.
They're known for like their watermelon moisturizer or like pineapple exfoliator, and it's in the glass bottle of a pineapple. Yeah, it smells like something you should be eating, not putting on your face.
Yeah.
But
if you think about it, to me, stuff like that is always like Bath and Body Works. Like, it's good when you're 13, and then when you're older than that, you need to like move
even
on
those
from
Bath
it.
and Body Works like lotions, they smell great, but they're not. If anything, they're drying out your skin.
It never feels good.
Opposite,
after.
reverse Uno card with that one.
I know that's how.
But it's hard, especially when you open up and it's like
like
targeted
higher,
to our age group, and
but they're like higher name brands. I know I had listened to. There was a guest that came in, and she wasn't around our age, but she had bought like Chanel facial products.
Packed with perfume.
I was shocked. Yeah.
It won't even say like fragrance. It'll say like parfum in their ingredient list for like a moisturizer.
Yeah. I didn't even know Chanel sold skincare because I think that's wild. And that somebody's buying it because it's Chanel. Like, just don't do it. There's no need to do it. There's no need to spend the money on it. If you're spending... Like, what's an expensive product out there that people spend their money on?
I just thought of something. The biggest one when I worked for Blue Mercury. And I would steer people, because we had a lot of great lines that were actually used in spas, like Darphan, Chantecaille. Like, those are great product lines. But then we sold the devil itself. La Mer. Oh my goodness. And I would have women come in and actually buy like 5 soft creams at a time. Like, literally drop $4,000 on moisturizer.
Oh my gosh.
And the whole thing with La Mer, they claim that they have this magical sea kelp. There's no like scientific like backing that sea kelp helps anything really. Also, too, I want to add, one of their main ingredients in most of their moisturizers is petroleum, and that's super comedogenic. Some people are fine and it doesn't clog you, but I mean, it's pretty high up there on the list.
Yeah.
Of a possible something that will clog your pores.
Yeah. We should talk about that because that goes into like snailing. Have you heard that?
Slugging.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah. No, because there is the whole snail line from Ulta, which is
people,
like a snail mucus or whatever.
And people, because you're saying petroleum, that's like petroleum jelly, which is like Vaseline, and people have been slugging their face with that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Do not. That doesn't sound good. First off, I don't want my pillowcase to have like grease on it in the morning. Mm-hmm. But like that just can't be good. You're thinking about it, you're like clogging your pores. You're not giving it this protective barrier.
I mean, if you're a dry skin and you're looking for something to really like suck in the moisture and kind of keep it as an occlusive layer, like the whole thing with slugging right now, you see a lot of people like take just like straight up like Aquaphor and do it. Now that can work for some people because it is an occlusive layer. If you have your products on underneath, it is going to trap that hydration and give you that nice plump. But if you are somebody that deals with acne prone skin, there's other oily, don't even worry about slugging at that point.
Yeah.
You got your own.
You got the
like,
natural.
We're both 2 oily skin types, so like we could say this.
Yeah.
But something else, like there are other products. Is Clinical has one, Shield.
Shield's my holy grail.
Shield. That is something that you can put on top of your moisturizer if you're feeling dry, cracked, anything like that. And that's going to act as that occlusive layer to keep all your hydration in. But there's additive benefits. It's not just straight up petroleum, you know? So, you know, there's a bunch of other products. Really good product lines usually have like a barrier repair type of thing that you can use as like a slugging agent.
Shield is called Shield because it's called a recovery balm. Yeah. So like I know because social media, like you get things thrown at you and you're like, I should try that. I still do it. I get ads and I'm like, wow, I should try that. Or it's like a trend and I'm like, ooh, I should try that. But when you, like, I've seen so many people do, I even got fooled. I was like, should I be slugging? And then I was like, I'm not sticking because I've stuck so many DIY things on my face and in my hair that I was like, I'm not putting petroleum jelly on my face. That's nuts. But you just, like, when you see stuff like that, like, look it up. Do your research on it before you fall into the chopper trends.
Yeah, know if you're somebody that even needs that. And also, too, something that I see, like, often in, like, the treatment room, if somebody's dealing with, like, cracked skin, like, in this area or maybe, like, a little bit by, like, the eye area, it's not a bad idea at night, after you put on your moisturizer, a little dab in those areas. You don't need to do a full-on mask of slugging. Because even the people that do that, like how Sarah said, like, you don't want your whole pillow to be, like, a grease thing. Like, you have to, like, sit upright for, like, a good, like, hour and so, and maybe hope that you're not as sluggy as you were in the beginning.
And who's got the time?
Yeah, so it's just, again, I think also what's super important is, like, listening to your skin, like, what it needs. Because, like, if you do need that one night, maybe in a certain area, a little dab, perfect, fine. But if a week from now... You feel fine.
You get a cold keep doing and your nose is red and chapped, and because you've been blowing it all day.
Yeah.
Like I put Vaseline on my lips. I'll put a little right there just to feel it. It feels fine, but I don't do that all the time because I don't need it.
Yeah, and then thinking about like somebody like Sarah and I who are more of an oily skin type, if she took that Vaseline and put it all over her nose, like forget about it.
It'd be disgusting.
Forget about it. It's just filling up pores.
But it's good. It's good to know your skin because once you know it, like my sister she has eczema. She has super dry skin. My other sister has really oily skin like I do. Like we're different. I would never use the same things my sister with dry skin uses because that's just not realistic. Even though she'll buy stuff and I'm like, that's so pretty looking. And I'm like, but I don't need that. It. Like there's like, it's just not the trends, but trends. Like not to like listen to any trend that you see, but like
skincare isn't one size fits all. What works for your bestie most likely won't work for you. Maybe one of her products in the routine may, but you know, it's just because it works for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And like how we mentioned before on like a different topic, there's so many outside factors that could be causing whatever skin condition is going on. So, I mean, that's also why it's so important. Like something we take super serious in like the treatment room is skin analysis, because that's really when we can kind of start to educate the client of what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, what they need to add, what they need to like discontinue in their routine. So if you're puzzled, if you're confused with your own skin, again, scheduling a facial, you get that skin analysis, you get that consult, and that can really kind of get the ball rolling.
Because even me, like our skin consult, like we take the light, we look at your skin. Like if I'm just sitting there, I always do my cleanse at the beginning. Like I'm like, wow, their skin looks like pretty okay. And then I bring the light on and I'm like, I can't see anything. Like I'm like, it's important to get that, because when you're looking at it like in regular light, in the daylight or something like that, you're probably like, skin's not that bad. Like I don't see like my pores being that clogged, and I've like extracted noses and I'm like, I didn't even see that coming. Like you honestly can't see that kind of stuff with just your vision at home. Getting someone else to look at your skin, like I think I take really good care of my skin, and she'll do a facial on me and extract my nose and I'm like, there's nothing there, and she's like, yeah, there is. Like I hate it because I'm like, I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, I don't see anything. And having someone else look at your skin, then you're able to get the feedback that you want to get back on it.
Yeah,
that's important.
Definitely. I think throughout like a facial, other than like the main treatment you're doing, the skin analysis is super important, because that's what's going to set apart what you're even doing in the treatment room that day based on what's going on in the skin. And even if you're dealing with something, you know, specific this time around, the next time you come in, it could be like a whole different issue. Yeah. And again, I feel like that goes back to just like so many outside factors can be controlling different things. Like one of the things we see a lot that's tricky is like melasma, which is something that's triggered hormonally, but there's so many factors that can make it worse. Spicy food, alcohol, heat, you know, so it's just
and things like a diet thing I think is huge. Diets, your body might have been able to handle foods at some point in your life and now doesn't. Like, our bodies change every 7 years. So maybe your body's going through that cycle where now it doesn't tolerate. I know, like, dairy is, like, a huge thing for people nowadays. Like, maybe dairy doesn't work for you and it's causing these breakouts you've never had before and, like, here and all that kind of stuff. And when you come in and you're like, I feel like my skin was doing really well and now I don't, and you ask, like, if they changed anything with your diet and you're like, no, that's when you'd be like, maybe you should. Like, you never know. Like, things change that every time you come in.
Something else that I just thought of that I see a lot is, like, supplements.
Yes.
There's a few like known triggers like to acne. Now this may not be the case for everyone, but like two that like usually stand out. And like once I'm like really investigating why this person's breaking out, my brain always goes to, okay, well, are you using something that has biotin in it? Because that can be a trigger. And also enough of B12 can also be a trigger to acne. So whenever I bring that up and then I have a client be like, oh, you know what? Like I actually do have like a multivitamin that does contain B12. I'll tell them like, let's cut it out for 2 months and let's just see if that is, because, you know, it doesn't affect everybody, but these are also known triggers that could affect somebody. Yeah. So, and exactly like how you were saying, like how our bodies change and stuff like that and how all of that's related. I also feel like, you know, your gut like represents your face. So like what's going on in there is gonna pop up on here. Yeah. So this is like something else that like, you know, you don't really think of like too much. Yeah.
Like, I have nothing else to talk about.
These are some red flags when you're talking to somebody or dating somebody. I'm sorry. When you're dating somebody, these are some red flags. Do you want to start?
And we noticed that we were joking. If you see anything that's
these
drunk elephant, he's got
in
a
his
girl.
bathroom, yeah. He has a girlfriend.
He has a girlfriend.
If he has a 3-in-1, run.
Run.
Simple.
We don't like the 3-in-1.
Simple. There's no way that product is sufficiently cleaning your hair,
body,
body, and face. Yeah. I don't believe it.
Yeah. He's got, what else would it be?
Oh, well, okay, this isn't like skin, but if you see like Olaplex, run. There's an angry blonde about to come home.
Yeah, true. The Ordinary,
yes. The Ordinary.
If they have The Ordinary, they got a girlfriend.
Yeah, and if he ever, like, was curious and saw all the different, like, Ordinary bottles that she left behind with all these random ingredients, chances are if he tried it, his face is probably burning. So look for a compromised barrier. Run.
Look for that imbalance. Run.